Welcome back to Hopeful Horizon, where we bring you thought-provoking stories of resilience, justice, and triumph over adversity. Today's story is one of quiet power, unfolding in a high-end bank where appearances and prejudice collide in the most unexpected way. Meet Jordan King, a celebrated movie director with wealth, influence, and a reputation for breaking barriers. But when he walks into a bank dressed casually, he's not recognized for his achievements. Instead, he's treated with suspicion, racial bias, and disrespect. What starts as a routine withdrawal turns into a public spectacle of humiliation at the hands of a prejudice teller and her manager. Yet, this story isn't just about injustice. It's about what happens when someone with influence, grace, and resolve fights back. What follows is a journey of accountability, redemption, and a reckoning that ripples through both personal and professional lives. Stay tuned as we delve into an emotional roller coaster filled with betrayal, viral moments, and poetic justice, proving that no one should ever be underestimated based on the color of their skin. If you love stories that inspire change and remind us of the power of perseverance, don't forget to leave a comment and share your thoughts. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a story from Hopeful Horizon. And let us know, where are you listening from today? Jordan King, dressed casually in jeans, a plain t-shirt, and sneakers, strolls into a luxurious downtown bank. Despite his laid-back attire, he carries the quiet confidence of someone accustomed to fame. Today, however, isn't about premieres or red carpets. He simply needs to withdraw $10,000 in cash to fund a personal project, something he thought would be a quick and uneventful task. The bank lobby gleams with marble floors and glass walls. Business people in tailored suits move briskly, while Jordan's low-profile demeanor seems out of place. He steps up to the counter, offering a polite smile to Sarah Coleman, the white bank teller. She glances at him skeptically, her eyes trailing over his simple clothes. Jordan hands over his debit card and ID without hesitation. Sarah takes them, but lingers a bit too long, raising an eyebrow as she inspects his information. She taps a few keys on her computer and frowns at the balance, well into 7 figures. "Are you sure you have the right account?" she asks, with a condescending tone. Jordan chuckles politely, brushing it off. "Yeah, I think I know my own account." Sarah's smile tightens. She asks a series of unnecessary questions: what his birthday is, his address, and even his mother's maiden name, despite everything matching perfectly. Jordan starts to feel the first hints of annoyance, but keeps his composure. "Look, I just need the cash," he says calmly, glancing at his watch. "I'm in a bit of a rush." "Of course," Sarah replies with a tight smile. "Just a moment." As Jordan waits, she leans back, signaling for her manager, Daniel Green, a stern and uptight man with a known history of profiling minority customers. Daniel approaches, his expression darkening when he sees Jordan standing at the counter. Sarah whispers something in Daniel's ear, and his face twists into a sneer. "He claims this account is his," Sarah mutters. Daniel studies Jordan like he's a threat, ignoring the fact that the ID and debit card match perfectly. Without hesitation, Daniel makes a quiet decision: call the police. "Stall him," Daniel whispers to Sarah, already pulling out his phone. Back at the counter, Sarah maintains a polite facade, pretending that they are preparing his money. "Just another minute, Mr. King. We're getting everything sorted." Jordan nods, though his patience begins to wane. He taps his fingers on the counter, noticing how the other employees are glancing at him from across the room, murmuring among themselves. Something feels off, but he brushes the thought away. Minutes pass, and Jordan grows restless. "Listen, could we speed this up? I've got a meeting in 20. Sarah flashes another forced smile. "Just 1 more minute, sir." From the back, Daniel emerges, exuding smugness. He strolls toward Jordan, leaning on the counter with an air of superiority. "You know," Daniel begins with a sneer, "a black man like you can't possibly have that kind of money in his account." Jordan's eyes widen. The blatant racism stuns him into silence for a moment, and then anger begins to simmer beneath his calm exterior. Before he can respond, he hears it. The sharp command that sends his heart racing. "Freeze!" Jordan turns to find 2 police officers, guns drawn, pointing directly at him. What the hell? Jordan stammers, raising his hands in disbelief as the officers storm toward him. One of them grabs his arm, yanking it behind his back. The other officer slaps cuffs on his wrists, cinching them tight. "You're under investigation," one officer mutters. "For what?" Jordan shouts, panic and confusion mixing in his voice. Daniel, standing smugly behind the counter, crosses his arms. "Good job, officers. This one's been causing trouble." Outside, a small crowd of onlookers begins to gather, watching as the wealthy director is dragged through the glass doors. People whisper, pull out their phones, and film the spectacle. Jordan's face burns with shame and rage. As he is shoved into the back of a squad car, Jordan demands, "Get me a sergeant, now." The officers exchange glances but reluctantly comply. Minutes later, a police sergeant pulls up in another vehicle. He steps out, a look of confusion spreading across his face as he recognizes Jordan King. "Mr. King," the sergeant says, his voice filled with disbelief. "The director of the rebellion?" Jordan, still in handcuffs, glares. "Yeah, and I want to know what the hell is going on." The sergeant quickly orders the other officers to remove the cuffs. Jordan rubs his sore wrists, fury bubbling inside him. The sergeant listens as Jordan explains the situation, piecing together the racist profiling that led to the humiliating arrest. The sergeant's face darkens. "You're free to go, Mr. King. I apologize. This should have never happened." But the apology isn't enough. Jordan's mind races with thoughts of what just transpired. The humiliation, the disbelief, the pure audacity of Daniel's actions. He doesn't just want justice. He wants revenge. Back in his mansion, Jordan sits in his private study, scrolling through social media. The videos of his arrest have already gone viral. Hashtags like #BankingWhileBlack and #Jordan King trend fill his feed. The public is outraged, but Jordan knows that social media outrage alone isn't enough. He needs to dismantle Daniel and Sarah's lives just as they tried to dismantle his dignity. With a team of lawyers, Jordan files a lawsuit against the bank for racial discrimination and emotional distress. His attorneys contact media outlets, leaking both the bank's surveillance footage and the body cam footage from the arresting officers. Soon, news stations are broadcasting the story nationwide. Reporters camp outside the bank, demanding statements. The scandal spreads like wildfire, with clients, both wealthy and ordinary, closing their accounts in protest. The bank's executives scramble to contain the fallout, but it's too late. Public pressure mounts, and Daniel and Sarah are both fired, their reputations destroyed. They become the faces of prejudice, plastered across every news site and Twitter feed. But Jordan isn't done. He publicly vows never to use the bank again, encouraging his celebrity friends and business partners to do the same. The bank's stock plummets, and within weeks, it's on the verge of collapse. In the final scene, Jordan stands outside the bank, watching as the closed sign is placed on the door. A sense of triumph washes over him, not just for himself, but for anyone who has ever been judged for the color of their skin. Justice, he realizes, isn't just about winning lawsuits. It's about turning the tables on those who think they're untouchable. And as Daniel and Sarah try to rebuild their shattered lives, Jordan walks away, knowing that sometimes revenge is the best form of closure. Months have passed since the incident at the bank. The public fallout from the scandal was swift and unrelenting, leaving Sarah and Daniel struggling to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. Their names became synonymous with racial profiling, plastered across news headlines and trending hashtags, #BankingWhileBlack and #King vs the system. Sarah lost her job almost immediately after the viral footage leaked, and no bank would hire her again. Desperate, she tried to scrub her name from the internet, but it was too late. Every search result brought up articles, think pieces, and forums dissecting her actions. Her once comfortable lifestyle evaporated, and she now works behind the register at a convenience store. Barely making rent, her life reduced to a whisper of what it once was. Daniel didn't fare any better. Fired and disgraced, he lost his savings to legal fees, trying to fight back against the discrimination lawsuit. But every lawyer he hired told him the same thing. There's no coming back from this. His reputation was in tatters, and his wife left him soon after, embarrassed by the constant media scrutiny. Last anyone heard, he was working as a security guard at a warehouse, overlooked, just like the people he had once dismissed so easily. Meanwhile, Jordan King's life has flourished. The publicity from the incident, while painful, opened new doors. His latest film, Rebellion Redemption, a gritty, powerful piece about racial inequality, broke box office records. He used the media attention not just for personal gain, but to start conversations that needed to happen. Jordan also founded a new nonprofit, the Vanguard Initiative, aimed at addressing systemic discrimination in banking and corporate spaces. The organization advocates for change by offering legal support, funding startups in marginalized communities, and hosting financial literacy workshops. But his greatest victory isn't in the courtroom or the headlines. It's in the people he's empowered. The sergeant who recognized him that day, he became one of the nonprofit's strongest allies, helping bridge the gap between police forces and communities through reform initiatives. And the officers who wrongly detained him publicly apologized, undergoing diversity training and volunteering with the Vanguard Initiative as part of their personal atonement. As for the bank, it never recovered from the scandal. Clients abandoned it in droves, and after the lawsuit, a competitor acquired what was left of it. Jordan's deliberate boycott, along with those of his wealthy friends, crippled the institution beyond repair, a harsh reminder that power lies not just in wealth, but in unity. One evening, as the sun dips below the horizon, Jordan stands on the balcony of his Hollywood Hills estate, looking out over the sprawling cityscape. The wind rustles the leaves of the trees around him, and the glow of the city lights reflects in his calm, steady eyes. He takes a slow breath, the crisp air filling his lungs. It's not just relief, it's triumph. Justice was served, and he knows that his victory was more than just personal. It was a reckoning. Jordan steps inside and glances at the framed newspaper on his wall. Justice served. Director Jordan King fights back against banking discrimination. Below it, the bank's former logo sits in tatters, printed beneath the bold headline. He smiles, not out of vengeance, but out of pride. Because this isn't just his story. It's the story of every person who has ever been judged unfairly. And in a world where justice is often elusive, Jordan King stands as proof that change is possible, not just through words, but through action. He pours himself a glass of whiskey, toasting silently to the people who tried to break him and failed. He has reclaimed his dignity, his power, and his peace. The past will not define him. The future is his to write. And Jordan King is just getting started. Thank you for joining us on this journey through prejudice, perseverance, and victory. Jordan King's story is a powerful reminder that justice can be achieved, even in a world where unfairness often prevails. His fight wasn't just personal. It was a statement for everyone who's ever been judged unfairly. With courage, strategy, and determination, Jordan not only reclaimed his dignity, but also inspired change on a grand scale. If this story resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment and let us know what part moved you the most. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss another empowering story from Hopeful Horizon. We'll be back soon with more stories that challenge, uplift, and remind us of the power within each of us to spark change. Until then, stay hopeful, stay resilient, and always fight for the respect and justice you deserve.